Ping is blocked, so most people assume the host is gone. That assumption gets real networks compromised. In this lab, I've got a Windows 11 machine that's completely ignoring ICMP and a Kali box on the same network. No pings, no replies, it just looks invisible. Yet I could still find it in seconds without touching the host at all. And this doesn't use exploits, no malware, nothing fancy. It's just normal network behavior that defenders often overlook. I'll show you exactly how host discovery still works when ping fails, why this matters in real environments, and what you should be doing instead. Okay, here's the setup. On the left, I've got Kali Linux. On the right, I have a Windows 11 system on the same subnet. ICMP echo requests are blocked on the Windows, so it will not respond to ping. This is a very common configuration, and it's often treated as a bad security control. Let's see what this actually buys us. Obviously, the first thing we need to do is go ahead and find that IP address so we can actually prove and test what's going on. So I'm just going to do a quick IP config. And then we can see we're operating on 10.0.219. And then, of course, we just need to prove that we can't see it. So we'll just type in that ping 10.0.2.19. I'm going to put a count 4 on there just because. We'll let it do its thing. There we go. 4 packets transmitted, 0 received, 100% packet loss straight off the bat. Now, if we were just doing basic discovery, this would like a dead host. There would be nothing there. And this is where a lot of those scans stop and where blind stops, frankly, begin. This is, unfortunately, is where a lot of companies come in and they believe this is a security control. They believe that this is actually going to stop an attacker from coming in. So yes, ping is blocked. That part works exactly as intended, but is it secure? Is it going to stop us from discovering this host? Now, just to prove that it doesn't do anything, we're going to do a quick nmap scan right there. I'm just going to do attack SN. That's a ping scan. And we're just going to hit it. We're 10.0.2.19. Now, we can see very, very quickly that nothing popped up. There's nothing on here that this nmap is detecting. And we know that because nmap relies on ICMP for that traffic to get those signatures off that target machine. Okay, we're going to switch tools now. Now we're going to hit NetDiscover. NetDiscover works very, very differently than, say, Nmap or even Ping. Instead of ICMP, it uses ARP, which operates on the layer 2 of the OSI model. If a machine is on your local network, it must respond to ARP, Address Resolution Protocol, or it can't communicate at all. Right away, we see our Windows 11 host appear, even though ping is blocked. At this point, the host is no longer invisible, and blocking ping didn't change anything, so it's still very much visible to somebody that knows what they're looking for. This command right here with NetDiscover tells exactly which interface to use. So we use the TAC-I with ETH0, telling basically the system, hey, we want to use Ethernet 0 as our interface. Then we have TAC-P. This is passive node. This means no ARP requests are sent. NetDiscover then is just listening for what's going on. And this is a lot easier if we're trying to stay a little bit hidden or if we just want to see what's going on in the network. See, as an attacker, they don't even have to go into our network. They don't even have to actively scan our system. They can just listen to what's going on because in order for machines to connect with each other, they're going to send out that address resolution protocol, that ARP request to see what's going on. Now, like anything else in cybersecurity and IT, the faster the scan is, the more noisy it is, the slower it is, the stealthier it is. And so when we're in that lab environment, we really don't care how noisy it is because it really doesn't matter to us. But you have to remember that if an attacker is looking inside your network, they're not going to be out there pinging your network with active scans trying to get information, not if they're being smart about it. And so we have to be aware of all the vulnerabilities associated with our networks. Up until this point, we've been using tools that leverage ARP to discover those hosts. NetDiscover really makes this visible for us, but it's still doing a lot of the work behind the scenes. So before we go any further, I want to strip this all the way down. Instead of using a discovery tool, let's talk directly to the protocol the network actually depends upon. That's ARP. And this is where the idea of ping blocking really kind of falls apart. So what is ARP? Address Resolution Protocol. On a local network, machines don't communicate using IP addresses. They communicate using MAC addresses or physical addresses. When a system wants to talk to an IP on the same LAN, local area network, it first has to ask the question, who has this IP address and what is your MAC address? That question is then sent as an ARP request to everyone on the local network. The system that owns the IP responds with using ARP reply, saying, that's me, here's my MAC address. Once that happens, the sender stores the result into the ARP cache, and they can start communicating normally. This is basic behavior of a computer function. It can't use the internet or any network, for that matter, without ARP. It's required. If this kind of hands-down breakdown has been useful to you, consider subscribing for more labs just like this. Now let's talk directly about ARP. In order to see ARP, we're going to go right into the command line and just type a simple command of ARP-TAC-A. This is going to give us everything that's on our network. Now you can see right off the bat, there's our Windows machine. It's communicating on the network, and we can see it's on ETH0, which is our Ethernet connection. Now this right here, this is our MAC address. This is that physical address that we were just talking about. The MAC address is a 48-bit identifier, usually written as 6 pairs of hexadecimal numbers, like what we see here on the screen. The MAC address is actually split into 2 main parts, with the first identifier being the first 3 bytes, often called the OUI, or the organizationally unique identifier. This portion identifies the vendor or the manufacturer of the network interface. That's why tools like NetDiscover can tell you things like Microsoft, Intel, or VMware just from the MAC address. The last 3 bytes are assigned by the manufacturer to uniquely identify the specific network interface. This is what makes each MAC address unique within the vendor's own space. This is also why MAC addresses can leak information about what kind of device you're looking at, even before you even touch the host. MAC addresses have 6 bytes. The first half identifies the vendor. The second half uniquely identifies the device associated with that vendor, also known as a physical address. Now, you probably got done listening to that and thinking to yourself, okay, Dr. K, that's great. I appreciate all the information, but why in the world do I care? Well, you care because ARP is one of the earliest signals that you get that something is actually happening on your network. Long before the attacker exploits anything, they need to understand what's around them. Host discovery, or MAC resolution, and ARP traffic are how that process all begins. Most attacks don't begin with malware or exploits. They actually begin with enumeration. Figure out what devices exist, where they are, and where they live. That's where blocking ICMP might reduce noise, but it doesn't reduce visibility. If you assume a system is hidden because it doesn't answer ping, you're already behind. ARP traffic reveals which host exists, which vendors are present, when a new device appears, when something starts probing its neighbors. ARP isn't optional on land. It's a required feature. Even a cautious attacker has to interact with it if they want to move around on the network. Hell, even if they want to get on the network in the first place. As an analyst, this usually shows up as an unexpected ARP request, new MAC addresses on my network, devices talking that shouldn't be there, and vendor mismatches. And often this precedes lateral movement, rogue devices, and internal reconnaissance. You care because ARP is where assumptions break and reality starts to get on your network. This is your local ARP table. Even without ping, the OS already knows which hosts exist. NetDiscover didn't start discovery, it just revealed it. This is the same tool. The only difference is it's using Nmap, and Nmap in this PR case, the TAC PR flag, forces ARP-based resolution. So it's still able to find it even with Nmap, it's just not using NetDiscover. And you'll notice that Windows hosts almost appear immediately. You'll notice throughout this entire exercise at no time did we use any exploits, any malware, no credentials attacks, just normal network traffic and basic tools usually already embedded in most systems. Ping blocking is not a security control. ARP is mandatory on every single network, and real defenses assume that the visibility the attacker has is already there. This is why segmentation, monitoring, and zero trust is so relevant in security field. If you're relying on ping blocking, your defenses are appearances only. They're not reality. And even when ping is blocked, host discovery still works. It's reliable and it's quiet. Next time, we'll go deeper into ARP-based discovery and why defenders really need to care. I'll see you in the next lab.